Right. Morning, DJ Devon. This could probably chunk just a little bit higher. It's talking super loud just yet, but all right. Let's wrangle a few more windows. What's up, Tyeth, over on Twitch? Nice to see you, my friend. H-Top for the win, yes. Love B-Top. I saw that recently. I'm not familiar with all the different ones. Is it pre-installed or is it a thing you install separate? Stuff it looks like mostly. So the camera. Separate thing. What's up, Jose? Morning, my friend. And Johnny as well. Okay. So we'll do a very quick intro for anybody that might be new or watching this in the future. My name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. I usually work on stuff related to CircuitPython, which you can learn more about here at circuitpython.org. Or I guess it would be appropriate to say I usually work on stuff that is either related to CircuitPython or CircuitPython adjacent on this stream each week around 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturdays. Today, we are more in the adjacent category. We're more over in the Blinka world on a Raspberry Pi 5 device, and we are playing with some matrix portals. Just matrices, I should say, not matrix portal. So I will not do the usual rundown of CircuitPython. If you are new and you don't know what CircuitPython is and you want to watch the first couple of minutes of any previous stream or video on this channel, or if you're really actually new and you really actually want to know and you're in the chat and here and you say, hey, please tell me, I'll probably tell you if you're actually here. So, as always, huge thanks to Adafruit. Adafruit is the company that makes CircuitPython possible, as well as the work we're doing today on the Raspberry Pi. Adafruit is a hardware and software company based out of New York. They pay the team of developers, including myself, who work on CircuitPython. They also do all sorts of other great stuff. So if you want to get microcontrollers that run CircuitPython and other things, if you want to get Raspberry Pis, if you want to get any kind of crazy peripherals like these giant nets or anything else to hook up to your microcontrollers or Raspberry Pis or other devices, Adafruit has got you covered. And as always, huge thanks to them for making it possible to do all the work that myself and the rest of the team do on CircuitPython and the surrounding stuff. Today, like I said, we're on the Raspberry Pi 5, and I'll give you a really, really quick rundown of what's set up. We have I think, is it Matrix? So there's a Matrix bonnet. Is that the one I have right now? Yes, this is what's hooked up right now. Matrix bonnet, RGB matrix. There is a different one that's kind of the same or similar. Matrix shield, maybe? Hat? I don't know the difference for all the different names of all of them, but this is the one I'm using. I do have a different one, which I'll test at some point, but not on this stream. This is what's hooked into the panels, and then for anybody who doesn't know, the panels are relatively standard. In my case, they are 64 by 32. And I actually had the 3, I think you can choose them from here. 3mm pitch. We're in this list. Yeah, there it is. 3mm pitch, 64 by 32. I have 4 of these hooked up. At some point, I may flip it over and show you the wiring. But I don't have the lights on or anything because it picks up the screen better without the lights on. So, yeah, I won't do that just yet. If anyone's interested, super interested in the wiring, I'll let me know and I'll flip it over at some point and show. But it's pretty straightforward. It goes from the Pi to the first panel, which is, I think actually this one chains to this one chains down to this one, and that one chains across to this one. With the data panels, and then there's power for everything. I have separate power supplies for the top panels and the bottom panels. And all of this is being made possible because of this new library. Hug report today goes out to Jeff. Huge thanks to Jeff. Jepler, one of the folks who does work on CircuitPython as well. Jeff has been making this possible by writing this library, Adafruit Blinka Raspberry Pi 5. Nope, actually, my bad. This is wrong. Is it? No, RP5. I think this might not be the right one, actually. Let me pull up. I think this one is used maybe under the hood, but we actually want, I want Pi 5 PO matter. Yeah, I didn't pay close enough attention when I opened the link here. This is the one we want, although I think maybe it uses the other one. I need to go back and document all the requirements and everything as well. But yeah, like I was saying, thanks to Jeff, this library, PO Matter, is what's making it possible to interface from a Raspberry Pi 5 to these panels using that bonnet that we had right here. And this thing is pretty fresh. You can see it was just created recently, last couple of weeks. Jeff's done a lot of work to get it going, so huge thanks to him for making it possible. Tide says, good morning, must be Pi weekend. Just been using the Flatpak version of Prusa Slicer on my Pi this morning for the first time. Won't render OpenGL plater scene without libgl always software true. Flatpak, interesting. Yeah, Flatpak, I've got Flatpak as well on Ubuntu, and I don't care for it too much. But I guess it's trying to be one of the things I want most out of Ubuntu, which is like a unified way to install stuff, because I will say it's like, there's a million different ways to install things, and it's overwhelming to know what you installed how and how to update it and anything else, but Flatpak is one of those options that I don't necessarily care for too much. libgl always software true. I think he named it PO Matter. Yep, that's right. Yeah, thanks, Steve Devin. I thought there was a Proto. Yeah, I think it is a take on the name Proto Matter. Proto Matter is for the... I mean, my understanding is Proto Matter is for the microcontrollers, like... the Matrix Portal, which also plug into these same panels. So ESP32S3 is the newer one. The original one was M4. That one uses a library, I think an Arduino library called Proto Matter, and then the CircuitPython was a wrapper around that or inspired by it or something. I don't know the exact way it works, but... and then this one is PO Matter, which runs on the Raspberry Pi 5 and makes use of the PO ability that the Pi 5 has for its GPIO, which I think is new to Raspberry Pi 5. First time messing with Flatpak recently. Maybe had to do it once before in Ubuntu and had issues on past Pis years ago. They renamed Proto Matter on the microcontroller to RGB Matrix, I think. I think Proto Matter, the name's still floating around in some places. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the exact way it all works. But I feel like Protomatter still is floating around somewhere in the repo, or there is a repo that still exists with that name or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. In this case, I do think the name, if nothing else, was inspired by that one. Protomatter, Pomatter, I think is how it works. But Jeff would be the one to know, truthfully. I think he named it. And then, so that's kind of like how we can communicate with the panels. And then what we're doing right now to finish setting the stage here is we are mirroring the frame buffer, and we're doing that by running Python FB mirror scaled, which is an example that's in this repo, FB mirror scaled. However, the one that's in here is all hard-coded, and I have made some changes to my local one, which is why I'm passing all these extra things, which are for the scale that we want, the total size of our panels. So in my case, I have 2 by 2. They are 64 by 32 each, and so my total size is 128 by 64. And then the rotation you want, which in my case I want 180 because it happens to be how it's working to face me, is that 180 is how it needs to be. And so you could see if we kind of side-by-side action this here. If we stop that, it goes off. And we can change the scale here. So if we want it to be bigger, we can do that. If we wanted it to not be rotated, we could try with 0. Okay, yeah, that works. So that would flip it around the other way. Theoretically, you could do other sizes and stuff. I can't necessarily vouch for all of them working as intended. But this is all going good so far. And then I will also start with one other sort of demo, which I think is pretty cool. If we scale it down really small, we can run a video on it. I don't know how well the microphone picks me up from over here, so bear with me. I kind of so one thing about it is I have SSH to this Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is up here. This is SSH'd into it. But in order to specifically the video, mostly all the rest of the examples so far, I can run them from SSH. Specifically the video, though, I need to run it from the console, so from the keyboard that the Raspberry Pi is plugged into here. And do it with VLC. Oh. Better one? Let me... The one thing is, sorry, you can't see what I'm typing very well. Here, I mean, we'll just run this one, and then I'll explain why the other one is better. Oh, okay, wow, actually the camera hates this. Okay. That's unfortunate. Let me see if we can make the camera hate this less. It does look better than that in person. In fact, actually, let me stop this for now. It does look better than that in person. The camera makes that look terrible, but it is messed up in person as well, which is what I was getting to a minute ago. What's up, Mark? Mark says you can also chain PO programs together. I know some complicated stuff does that. Oh, let me catch up here. My understanding of PO is it has to be less than 32 instructions. Seem like a small thing to run the panels. Yeah, your understanding of PO is already further than mine. I have really no idea. Like, I kind of know the general idea of it's like on the Raspberry Pi Pico and some of the newer ones, it's like a way to offload logic into some state machine thingies. That's kind of all I really know about it. And it runs really fast. Those are the things I know about it. So yeah, number of instructions or how to make it do the panels, that part I don't know. You'd have to dig in the library here. And I will say this library is interesting. I'm not super familiar with, I guess, C Python libraries, which I guess is what this is. But like if you kind of go in here, the only Python code is kind of like this thing. Maybe not the only, there might be a bit more, but it's lots of C code, and I don't fully grok how it fits together and creates the Python thing at the end. But if you understood C and how to write Python code in C, like Python libraries in C, then you could probably find out inside of the source of here what kind of stuff is going on specifically with the PO. But it's all over my head. OBS has a lighting setting for refresh rates that might help with that. It might be related to just adjusting the LED lighting. Might be work for something like that too. Maybe look for into it. Yeah, I'm gonna try real fast the camera, but the other thing I'm gonna do actually is dim the video, because one thing I have found is that there are, which it's gonna be difficult to show you probably if we can't get the camera working better, but there are like bright white lines that show up, like bright lines that show up in different sections when you run the video at full brightness. And I guess, my best guess is that this is due to not having enough power, because technically I'm running 2 screens off of 4 amps, and technically the screens want 4 amps per screen. But I will say, when I only had 2 screens hooked up, I did try doing it off 2 different power supplies, which should, in my understanding, be the correct amount for 2 screens. And I still had the same problem. So there might be something more to it, but it seems like when it plays full brightness, you get these weird artifacts, which are bright lines. And one of the things you can do to resolve it is just not have your thing be full brightness. And one of the ways you can do that when playing videos is through VLC. There's actually a command for it. I'm going to go look up, but we need to also do this. This is going to connect to the Pi over SSH, but like as a file path, which means we can see the files on the Pi locally on my computer, which means I can open this project, which is actually on the Pi itself. It's not on my computer, but I can open it on my computer now because of that SSH thing. But you're gonna want this in a minute, but also we actually want to find this one. I think is where there might be some notes. All right, I need to write this. Okay, we're gonna put this into the notes file this time, where we're starting today. This person was asking a question about how to do something with video brightness. My apologies, I don't know how to answer their question, but it turns out that they have a way to control their video brightness, which is exactly what we want, which is kind of nice. So I have VLC, so vout, this is one of the tricks we need. Vout lets us specify where we want the video to go to, and in our case we want the video to go to the frame buffer because that's what the code is mirroring onto the panel. Its video name goes right here, .mp4, whatever. Wait, that's not true. Before that, actually, we're going to want this new thing, which we copied, which is this. So -- video filter adjust, and then brightness, and then you can turn it down by going like 0. whatever. 0. For me, 0. I think 5.5 was doing pretty good with all 4 panels on this video. I think it depends on your source video a lot as well, though. There's some bright parts of this video. Yeah, I think that is the command, and unfortunately I can't copy paste it, so let's do that so we'll have most of it back to here. Video filter. Brightness. Okay, so that takes care of the weird white lines, which actually helps the camera not freak out as well. So perfect, 2 birds, 1 stone, or 2 birds, 1 acorn? 3 birds, 1 acorn at this point, because we got the one that's actually on the display as well, which is a record, I think, for this channel. 3 birds, 1 acorn right there. Let me catch up on the chat here. Not having enough power would show up as red lines. Bright white lines is timing glitches. Interesting. When I turn the brightness down, it fixes that. So, bright light would be timing. By default, the chips in the panels, when sensing low power, they turn off the blue and green parts. Ah, okay. I did see some redness in some of them. It might be making the red brighter. Specific to matrix panels, Seagrover's palette fader is great for helping with brightness issues. So the thing is, we are not, we don't have, this is not CircuitPython code necessarily. And VLC, through this command that I just wrote here, VLC does let us manipulate the brightness, which is actually, which is actually super nice. I have written down as well. I should copy this into the other one, but I guess I don't, I'm not going to check it into the repo, so. Okay, so one thing I want to do, here I'll run it. The camera is actually, yeah, the camera is much happier with this. I'm surprised actually how much better that makes the camera. But yeah, it is still not like the kind of like, I don't know if that comes through on the stream, but the kind of like strobing thing does not necessarily happen really to my eye, at least when I look directly at it. That's the thing of my camera and or the software I'm using to stream it back to my screen here. But it runs actually super smooth. I was really surprised at how smooth it runs, and it's actually fairly not like just completely hammering the Pi into oblivion. It's actually pretty amazing. It's hammering one CPU. And it uses the others, you know, a fair bit to run the video, but like not at the ceiling yet. Might help to explain that each matrix is split in half. The top half refreshes from... Okay, hold on. Let me read this. Because this might help actually explain something else I'll show you in a minute. It might help to explain that each matrix is split in half. The top half refreshes from bottom to top. The bottom half of the panel refreshes from top to bottom. Depending on how many panels you have, the refresh effect is more visible the directions each panel refreshes. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for saying that, by the way. I did not know that, and that actually helps explain something else, which I guess I will show you as well. Start here. I know we're getting a ways into the stream, and I am going to start working on some stuff here in a bit, but I have obviously quite a bit to show off as well. One of the other examples is this one. Quote scroller. So I will say this is currently set up for a different size screen. Let's see what changes we need to this word. Okay, let's rip the band-aid a little bit and start making these variables. So that's like half and half. We'll get to see the example of what I've done here in a little bit, but for now we'll have to actually do some coding and stuff. I don't know if we'll use those. And I'm not going to go so far as to make the arguments on this one just yet, but I will make these into variables. So I am going to set this to 128 and 64. Love using two panels to play guess on. Doing video run on panels is so... Yeah, I totally agree. Getting the video to run the first time is like... and not even the first time. I still will sit here and watch it. So like, yeah, it's really nice to watch on there for sure. Obvious with 12 panels on a microcontroller with lower refresh rates. Your eyes if you throw too much at it. Like 30 labels. Not doing a scale on this one, so we can get rid of scale, but I'll keep height and width. I will keep this. I will keep this stuff. Yeah, all that's fine. Single frame, this is going to be the size of the screen, so width, height, geometry, that's going to be width, height. Location, I'm going to keep it on 180 for me. Single frame. And then that is pasting, so it's grabbing 4x64. I think we can just do width and height here. We'll see if that breaks. Oh, I'm in the wrong repo. This is the danger. I should close one. Okay. This is the one that is on the Pi. And actually, if I look inside quote scroller here, it does actually already have some of this stuff started. And another thing it has is a trick, which was what I was going to talk about anyway, which is bringing us back to what DJ Devin mentioned a minute ago. So, yeah, I'll just stick with this. We can change this to 64, which I think we'll need to do. Bottom half shift compensation. Oh, but that's going to be... yeah. So that's actually going to mess us up a little bit. Let me just run it with this on 0. And then I guess it should run at least, maybe? Why is it upside down? Okay, you can see what it does though. Scrolls through a quote. Let's try to flip it back over. You can also maybe see what we're getting at and what DJ Devin said. So the top half of these panels and the bottom half of these panels are actually updated independently. There's a line that's exactly at halfway where the pixels are like shifted by 1. And if I add a sleep, like you can see, I have a bunch of different sleeps here. If I add a sleep, it actually fixes it. It doesn't get shifted by 1 anymore. But it scrolls much slower, obviously. Oh, actually, there is still a shift there. You can see it really easily on the eye. But adding a sleep makes it better. We could slow it down more eventually. And it will go away if you slow down enough. But I also cheated a little bit with programming since this is Python code. And we are using Pillow, PIL, in this. I actually ended up just splitting my copy paste. So I cut the top half, I cut the bottom half, and then I offset the bottom half by 1 pixel to account for the fact that at full speed they get out of sync, and that fixed it visually, which was pretty cool. Let me turn this back off. Let's get this flipped over. Are we on normal? We are. Okay. Phew. That was like, if we're seriously actually on 180, but this is just backwards. That's really weird. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Tesla. I've seen this one a couple of times. Okay, so let's get that fix working, which it's not gonna, so setting this starts it, but the next problem is that this example actually really was technically kind of made for a 32 height, just 2 displays, not 4. And now that we have 4, it throws off the numbers. So what we're gonna do for now is just hard code 16, I think. We could make the font huge. Should we make the font huge? That might be kind of fun. Let's make the font huge for a minute. Because we could, theoretically, we could go much bigger now that we have this. Okay, one thing I will say too, though, if you go huge, then using the trick that I was just talking about to account for the off by one shifting of the top half, bottom half, that gets a lot harder if you do go huge. Because you need to do it on every row of panels, essentially. It's not impossible, but it would be a lot more gnarly in the logic. What I'm going to do is go back to small. We're going to stay on our 2 panels on the top only, and then here we can just only cut, instead of cutting half of the total height, we will cut just 16. And the bottom half we will start at 16. And we will paste it at 16 when it comes time to paste it. And then I think it will work. Yeah, totally. So another thing I will say though is the streaming, the camera and the stream is messing it up further. Like if you watch, I mean, at least me sitting here watching on my end on the screen, there's still like horizontal shift, it looks like, like especially the B right there and the L, the tall ones, you can see it especially, where it's like leaning, italic. It doesn't do that to the naked eye. That's the camera and or the streaming that's doing that. Now they are straight vertical, and this little bit right here is accounting for that exact top half, bottom half that DJ Devin mentioned right here. Before I realized the cause of it, I figured out I could do this to kind of work around it. Oh, wow. There's a lot of panels. 12 panels. Oh, okay, that's per the overall big panel, top half, bottom half. But not, does it still apply? So if you have multiple rows of small panels, does it still apply individually on the small panels as well? Like the top half of small panel 1 updates before the bottom half of small panel 1 or whatever? I don't know if the order is correct, but or does it only, once you start chaining, only the size of the big one matters? I have in my notes to ask Jeff about this as well. Okay. One of the things that I do want to do today is see if we can get a better default font for the terminal, because there's also Python FB. Let me look at FB Mirror. I don't know what it's set up for actually. This one's actually still hard coded as well. Let's move these up. That's the only thing we need to change. You have it flipped already. Might be nice to move that to a variable as well, so people can use it. Whoops, here. So there is FB Mirror, which is just not scaling. And you can see there, it's much easier to read. But obviously we don't get very far, right? We can't see very much. But I think you can change the font size or whatever, right? Isn't that a thing that maybe we could make this better? Which is one of the things I want to look into today. So isn't it config? Or that's pretty. Didn't really help it. Can we break this one? Maybe restart this? It's like messed up now. I don't know where it would be though. Oh, that's where I was. Interface? It's like terminal font size somewhere. The internet. Raspberry Pi. No, not like the terminal window though. Not in the GUI though. That font thing? Console fonts user. A lot of them. Can I see the one that I'm on now? I have no idea which one I would need. Two? Terminus? Kind of familiar. That Unicode? I think it's only for the entirety of the array. Okay. Why not apply to the Pi? It's how it works for matrix library. I gotcha. Yeah. I do not. I know there's different ways to wire the panels as well, and I am currently on Serpentine, which I think might be the only way that works, but I'm not actually positive if that's true. For the Raspberry Pi 5, I mean. Okay, next question is, boy, I wish I could know the one I was on currently. Can I know the one I'm on currently? No console setup, updated font face, font size. There, above and went from there. So you set your default console setup. Default console setup file. Font is on following an oh, that's Braille font. Excuse me. Okay, so font is on blank. Okay. So there is Terminus. Which one of these is smallest? Terminus 14 or 12.6? Or would fixed 13 be smaller? Let's try 12.6 terminus and see if that thing useful. We need to be sudo to edit this. Nope. I don't actually remember the correct numbers for the 1210 or 1216. 12.6. 12.6. And I guess you would need to save and then reboot. Stop that. Reboot. And then I have a screen. I have the HDMI screen, which I can see, which is like over here, but you all can't because the camera can't go that far. But I can tell when it reboots. Unless the panels are full white pixels on every panel, you'll never use 4 amps per panel. Most projects are black, so well below the threshold. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I kind of assumed power originally, but then I kind of ruled it out to myself at least without understanding it fully by when I had it on only 2 panels, I had 2 power adapters total, so I was running them at the prescribed 4 amps each, and I still saw those lines with the brightness. So something about the brightness causes those lines. So if those lines are like a timing thing, then something about the bright colors seems to be exacerbating that timing thing. And when I darken it, it goes away. All right. Back up. I don't see any difference though. That doesn't seem any different to me. The console looks the exact same. Maybe that's the default one. Let's try one of the other ones. Fixed 13, would that be smaller? I mean 13, 12, 15? Is there really not one smaller? I could have swore I used to be able to choose one that was smaller than the default. You try going bigger to see if it's actually working. Or VGA, would VGA be smaller? VGA 8? VGA 8. Wonder if there's a way to do it without rebooting. Or if there's a way to like restart the console session or whatever. That's different, but I don't necessarily think it's smaller. Yeah, that's like thinner. You can see there that it's like 1 pixel wide. Which is better on this display, but we do still have room to go down some. I wonder if the scale would look all right here. So let's try scaled. Let's try scale 2 only. 28, 64, 80. Now it's pretty much illegible. I mean, you can kind of make it out if you know what's there, but it's pretty much illegible. I don't think we just do scale 1. Is it not work at all? Oh, okay. I have found that sometimes. Every now and then, like, I run it and it doesn't work, and I just stop it and start it and it works. I have seen that before. Like, maybe that's the second or third time total in the last, like, 2 or 3 days doing this. I think the data required to keep red, green, blue full brightness and not power related. Lower the bit depth and you'll find it works much smoother too. Lower the bit depth. I'm not sure how to do with that. A lot more data to run a 6-bit display than a 4-bit display. I mean, that might be in the code. Oh, we had to reboot the Pi, which means I just wrecked this. That. Can do that and then just say this window. I mean, maybe in here somewhere, I guess it could potentially manipulate the color space, but not me really. Not right now, not easily without just messing it up entirely. And I don't know for sure, like, our frame buffer is a certain size, and if you mess with that, then it doesn't work when you try to instantiate the display. So it might be hard-coded to a certain color space or something on the display side, or, I mean, this right here, I guess, chooses? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly how it works. Never get the font below 7 pixels with terminal IO. Use custom font designed for 5 pixels. Better. Can you do custom fonts in there? I mean, other one maybe. Still has room to go down. These are pst.gz. Is that just a thing you can find in it? He is a zip. Game Boy emulator terminal? Alright, it doesn't, I don't necessarily think I'm going to be getting a solution to this quickly. So I figured out how to change the font. If I can go find a font that's smaller than maybe in the right format, because that's the other problem. I know, like, DJ Devin, I think I even used your small font for something at one point. But it's for CircuitPython, and I how to get it to what this thing needs. Yes, is it just PST font? Installation. This is what I'm looking for. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Depackage, reconfigure, console setup. No wonder I can remember it. It's very easy to remember. Camera go. I don't know if it takes effect immediately. Package. Figure. Optimal. Okay, and then here, this is what I was thinking. Yeah, totally. So there aren't very many I am on VGA 8, which was 8. Presumably that's the smallest one, right? I don't know what that means. Oh, that did change, actually. I should have had this run. Got thicker, but it's the same height. Okay, so that must be height and width then? Maybe? So presumably that's going to be even bigger. Yeah. Hey, wait, that's not the same we were on, though. We on 860. I thought it just said VGA 8. Okay. Second number is definitely height. So how come 8 was not that single width one? Where did that single width one go? Did that change? Oops. Right. Oops. Oh, that's not changing. That didn't change. Did it change over here? Camera die? Camera died? Not changing. Not. Right now, I'm just like, why is it not changing though? Time it changed. Um. Am I crazy though? Where did that 1x1 font go? Or like one wide? Well, the camera is also dead. I don't think the camera likes this very much. It doesn't usually die this often. Okay. It's definitely too wide. That file? File I edit. That's your default console setup. But I mean, surely that's editing this file. When I run this command, surely that's editing that same file because it's called console setup, right? That says VGA 8x8, which is what I could select from the GUI thing. But when I set it before, I actually just did... Do this without sudo? No. I just did 8, I'm pretty sure, right? I have no idea how to make it refresh. I'd rather not reboot again, actually, as well. Can I, like, run console setup and, like, not change, like, that onion? Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, doing pretty well. Hope the same for you, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. Raspberry Pi reload console after setup change. Reboot. I don't want to reboot. I mean, there must be a way to do it, right? Because this program's doing it. But, if we cancel, it doesn't refresh. Alright, well. Maybe log out or something? If you log out at the console, does it then dump you back to log in, and then will it rerun the setup or whatever? Still the big one. Was it not VGA 8 that was the single one? I'll have to go back and watch the VOD, I guess. I swear when we set it to VGA 8 the first time and then rebooted, we got a font that was one LED pixel wide. Now it's impossible to get back to. Maybe, but this is very small. This is pretty small, actually. This is small height-wise. The 1 pixel font we had was taller. And the S is 1 pixel, I guess. But a lot more of it was 1 pixel. Guess it was not VG. I could have sworn that was the last thing I set it to. Is it fixed? Did like 1 fixed, I thought maybe. Didn't do it. I think some of them are okay. Oh, maybe I didn't wait long enough. Okay. There it is. So it was fixed, not VGA. Fixed 813, that's the smallest one there. What's up? Let's see. Sorry, your name is blue on black, which is very tough for my eyes. Binu Trace, maybe? Like that. In any case, what's up, my friend? Thanks for tuning in. That's pretty good, I guess. Is there any betters? That's just gonna make them taller. Okay, well, at least I found the small one. 812, that's... I don't think it changed. So some of them I think just don't work. Also, earlier I did just not wait long enough. Some of them, like that one again, I don't think any change actually happened. 12. Smaller? That might be small. 12, that's pretty... Yeah, 6. We were doing a lot of 8s, actually, so 612 is probably the smallest we've gotten. So how did you connect the panels together? Curious if you 3D print beefy mounts. Uh, no, I couldn't find any mounts. I didn't know. I mean, I can't say that I probably didn't look around super hard. Um, I found mounts for the 4mm pixel ones, 4mm pitch panels, but not the 3mm ones. I found them in a Learn guide. I think it was Liz's, the scoreboard. I think it is. I've let made ChatGPT code for Elden Ring DLL, but can you make an actual DLL file with code? Yeah, sorry man, I don't know anything. Sorry friend, I should say I don't know anything about Elden Ring or DLLs really that much either, or ChatGPT either. So that's all uncharted for me. I ended up designing some of my own. I ended up designing some of my own brackets. What? There's one of those in the middle. And then a long one for the long connections and a short one for the short connections, which are in different orientations, which is a nice touch. And I'll show you the wiring as well. I don't think I have them for 3. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll publish the things. I will say they're a little flimsy. Like you can kind of see actually from this angle with the lights off here. You can kind of see the line in the middle there, which is kind of because they're not rigid enough. I didn't print them thick enough probably. And so it allows a little bit of flexing in between the screens, which makes it so they're not exactly flat, but it's pretty good. Good enough for me at this point. I'll flip it over. I will flip it over and show you real fast, just so there's at least a picture / video somewhere of what the wiring is like back and stuff. Like short one, the middle one, short one, long one over here too, but the cable is covering it up a bit. Maybe this will better and not terrible. Let's see. A bit of a mix of both, but yeah, you can see. So the first one, so when it's face up, the one that the Pi feeds into is the top right corner. It goes from there to the top left corner, then it jumps down to the bottom left corner, then it goes across to the bottom right corner. And then there's power, separate power for each of the rows currently. These two are on one power, these two are on one power. Back off. Crash the camera again. Well, the light's off. Oh boy, that's not what I want. That'll work for 4 nicely. 12 has a lot more weight to it. If you ever decide to add more, you'll need beefier mounts for the weight. Alright, I can't copy the links from here. That one. Yeah, mine don't have the ridges that kind of go down on the thing or whatever. The bolt, I noticed the bolt pattern is different as well for the 3mm. I don't know why it's so different. Like, make very much sense to me, but mine are way, way flimsier. They get the job done though. Because I haven't. You get the job done mostly. All right, we crashed the camera. I was like, what? How did We crash the camera and I flip the back, it doesn't matter as much. Okay, so maybe at some point we could try to find a font that is custom that is smaller, because we do still have room to go to a smaller font, and it might be nice. I mean, we're running kind of close on room, truthfully, but we could probably squeeze a little bit more. Another thing I wanted to try was Pygame. I have no idea if Pygame can output when you're in console mode. Because right now I am in console mode. I'm not in the Raspberry Pi desktop. I just have it booting directly to console. And then the console is what we're mirroring. And the desktop, from what I understand it, just works totally differently. And we don't currently... Did I just leave this thing in front of that forever? Nice. The desktop, I don't think we currently have a way to mirror. But I'm curious if Pygame works for console or not. It seems like we already have it. Like just like a Hello World type thing. See, but the thing is, I don't know, init window, I don't know if that's gonna be. So I don't really want to create a window is the thing. Like I just want it to run, I guess, in a box. It's like the title bar and everything. We're not gonna have that. We don't have a window. Maybe this will work. Let's see. I don't know if that's... Let's give it a try. It's not gonna be that big though, so let's just do the size of our matrix, I think. Happens. So one thing is I'm assuming this probably would end up being kind of like VLC, where I guess I would need to run it locally, not through SSH, but let's try SSH first. I'm not in the right, I'm totally not all ready to go for that at all. So let's do this, this, Blinka, bin, activate that one, go to repos, samples. Module. Oh. So Pygame is installed in the system Python, not virtual environment. Can you Python install module to VM from... Can I copy it somehow or whatever? $11 years. I'm pretty sure I have found this before, but I don't know the answer. Because I think the thing, I found another thing that says basically don't use pip to install Pygame, so we could try this, but I have very low confidence in it working. All right, it didn't crash. It did finish pretty much immediately. I don't know if I'm not very familiar with Pygame. Does it need a while true type thing? Didn't really show anything anywhere though. It's not showing on any of the screens. Let me try running it the local con. It still does not show anything. I mean, it printed out the same stuff over there this time, but I thought you were a Pygame Blink a Display guy. Yeah, so I am. I made that at one point, but I would not call myself having a good understanding of Pygame. I managed to, so I would characterize it as I managed to hack that together, and it worked for a while. It does not work actually with the newest Blink a Display IO. Although on a branch that I was working it on, it kind of half works, but you either have to manual refresh or auto refresh, and they don't coexist and never work together. But I just kind of managed to hack that together. I don't actually know that much about Pygame. Pygame plus like without desktop, without. That sounds pretty promising. So if we can manage to write to FB0, I'm pretty sure it will work. We're not going to do mouse stuff. So this goes where? This is in the Pygame scripts. So I think this might actually, if we're lucky, this might actually get us there. That would be super duper sweet. I still don't know if we need like a, do we need a while true? Hopefully I'll be able to exit. Control C. Okay, FB0 I'm pretty sure we're on. Yeah. So if we can make it actually go to there, then I'm pretty sure it will show up on the matrix. Be super cool. I'll try from here again, although again I think it's possible that that we need to run it from the console, not SSH. So let me try that. Oh, got the same error. FBCon not available. We got it when we tried to set the mode. Maybe we should not call set mode. What happens if we just don't do that? In fact, what if we take both of these out and we just call init? Do we still crash or what? Now I don't crash, and I can exit, but it did not show on the display. But we are on SSH. That didn't really get us anywhere. So that said FB what now? FBCon not available. What does that mean? Their Pi TFT? Okay. This is what we want to do. Mine's FB0. Well, yeah, he's saying FB0. So I run FB items. Expected to use FBCon, but why didn't it pick it up? I think it needs. Try running it as sudo. Feel great about it. Error. Same error there too. That's the reset. Checked for output. Tried to force the video driver to FBCon an environment variable. Yes. I don't even know what FBCon is though. Not suit. If you run ls mod, does the FBCon module show in the output? I don't know what that means, but we can. Rip FBCon. Is that a thing I can install, or like, if not, try to load it manually? Mod probe FBCon. Spell it wrong? Oh, probe. That'll do it, huh? Fatal. Module not found in directory. Is that a thing I can install? Like, no. Okay. Raspberry Pi install FBCon. Is that a thing? You don't need a separate. It's typically already built in. Trying to ensure it's enabled. Adding to boot config. Usually by enabling frame buffer console. Config. Econ map 1. Font. Okay. Fair enough. stuff is here. We have audio thing, camera thing, overlays and DSIs. I don't know what that means. Init, FSRAM, V4. I don't know if we want that. I edited this file to add a video thing, actually. So this saying don't do that makes me wonder if actually we want to, like, change this. That being said, I don't really know what it means, but I did add something in here as part of this process. But it's working, so it must be working. And none of this is what this is talking about, so the most frame buffer console? FBCon map :1. My favorite kernel configuration tool. I don't really have one. It's like whatever works. Slightly hesitant to just randomly copy paste the AI thing, especially when it's like talking about fonts in one, but then console inline on map font. Pi enable FBCon. Okay, I mean that makes it seem like it's easy enough. Right. Okay, we reboot. Also, while that goes, I'm gonna run to the restroom. I will BRB. Accidentally just put Pico 2W build on the Pico 2 and it zap goes your drive. Oh, that's a bummer. Interesting. Pico 2W on a Pico 2. I guess does it have a different drive structure or whatever? So direct FB also sounds sort of promising. We try that. Direct FB. See if that's a thing you can just put there. Spelled the same way. I mean, we could try it on this one, I guess. Try it from the console. Same error from the console. Got it worked out, but those are on some older ones. Adafruit forms. The allocations are different because of the add-on chip. Nothing important on there that I can't recreate unless past me was smart enough to save. But yeah, I've been trying to be in the habit of always copying my PI. That's an image thing, I think. Mode Pygame, gonna open TFT script and select console mode. Pretty old though. TFT. I've used a TFT on stuff. Through Blinka display. Should I be choosing FB1? I mean, FB0 is where. That's where. I mean, that's what I'm copying to the matrix. Yeah, this one this is what I maybe was remembering before. Someone was like, "Don't install it this way, instead install it this way." I guess is probably what happened. I think there's a way when you create the virtual environment. I guess I should go back and do that. I don't remember what it is though. Castle to use in production. They do have this stuff too. So maybe I could run the Pygame thing. So what if I just go mirror from here? That's going to get the console onto there. And then in another one, we just use the system Python, which also has Pygame. And what's the code currently? FBCon FB. Okay, save it. Oh, not a. Try from the console. FBCon not available. So is that installed that way? Let's check that. Sudo. So yeah, that is already installed that way. I feel like we need to figure out how to get that module enabled or whatever. It still seemed like FBCon was not enabled, but value 0, 1, 2, 3 is a sequence that gets repeated until the total length is 64, in which the number of consoles available. What? If only one driver is available FB0, adding FBCon map 1 tells FBCon not to take over the console. Later on, when you want to map the console to the frame buffer device, you can use conf2 bmap. So much stuff in this. On map 10. This certainly seems pretty relevant, but I don't really know what to make of it in terms of how to use those numbers. Is there any chance I should have a 0 instead of a 1? This person did FPCon map 10. Map 1. Still don't quite understand what they're talking about as far as how those numbers interoperate or whatever. Okay. I think let's table Pygame for now. Doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to get that to work super duper quickly and easily. Another thing that I am to look into is playing Doom. Doom. Oh, desktop. Or if it's an emulator. Doom? Yeah, I think I saw that before. Compatible with vanilla Doom. Doom WAD shareware. Oops. User games. Just trying to download that stuff, but you know, we saw one back here. Shareware game files? Could we not just use that? Doom 1? Install 2 might not be what Doom's up. Okay, so y'all can't see the HDMI display, but that just put up a kind of like an ASCII GUI thing on the HDMI. Actually, it has a mouse as well, which is pretty crazy. Figure display. Correct aspect ratio show in. Save parameters and long. Surely that's going to be on the. Yeah, so now I have Doom on my HDMI screen. Obviously, our goal is to be onto the panel. Close. Quit this. Try to quit. Oh, okay, that's probably what it means by the end. Okay. What if I driver SDL I wonder what would happen if I unplugged the HDMI. Because one thing I found before I figured out how to tell VLC to go explicitly to the frame buffer was if I unplugged the HDMI screen, I could get it to play through the matrix. No. Like we have no such luck right now. Is that starting? Yeah, that's starting on the HDMI. Okay. Okay. Can we find anything about Chocolate Doom frame buffer? Okay. Yes, yes, yes. That's what we want. How to run, do this. Chocolate Doom dash geometry, BPP. Okay. If the screen goes blank, edit the config file and change the graphical startup. It's 2014. I'm kind of distrustful of everything in this little overview because I've seen too much stuff that's just completely made up. But that being said, like there have been a few like good nuggets as well, so maybe. I don't know where the config file is, for one thing. Are these, what are these? Directories? None of those are directories. GPP. Okay, let's try this. Let's see what that does. Dash. Wish this didn't get clipped like right there. Dash geometry 640 by 480 BPP bytes per pixel, I assume. Geometry 40 by 480 BP20. That is still on the HDMI screen. Does any of this print the config? Saving config, Tim local share, default config. Sounds promising. Tim.local share chocolate doom. Heretic and Hexen in there too. Doom has upgrades over the years, but Hexen was almost as good at the same attention. Wasn't it dot local? What was it? Dot share? Dot local share chocolate. Default config, there's a chocolate doom config. Stuff. Video driver. That sounds promising. Maybe we could say frame buffer or whatever. Graphical startup. Kind of. Cool. Grep graphical. Don't have that currently. Alternatively, add dev parm. Don't know what that does. Doom/dev parm. No, I have on the HDMI screen again. There a H? There is -- help. Also just launches. Okay, so those don't do anything. Even with runes and stuff, there's just okay. Frame buffer console. Crackle Doom can be run from the console without using an X server. However, you'll probably need to make some configuration changes to get the game running. Run with the following argument. That's basically what I ran before. It didn't seem to work. It launched on the HDMI screen. Maybe we try from the console? Again, like VLC was doing that to me, where like I need to run the video from there and not through SSH. I will say SSH here is at least getting Doom to the HDMI screen, which VLC I didn't manage. Oh. Thought we were in for a good time there because it changed this, but still on the HDMI screen only. I guess what it did is it scrolled a bunch of stuff. Okay, one more thing to try again, because this was happening to me with VLC, so I'm gonna queue up the command with the up arrow, but then I'm gonna run it after I unplug the HDMI. No, no dice. We still have just the console text. And actually, when I plug in the HDMI, we have there now. You really want to like force it to frame buffer somehow. Could try this if there's a blank screen. I don't have a blank screen. It's just not going to where I want. I mean, is that a thing? Split Doom config that or anywhere else? Graphical. Graphical. Graphical startup. If non-zero, display the graphical startup screen. Okay. So, I mean, let's try setting it to 0. File format is the same as default. So do we change? We change Chocolate Doom, not default, probably, right? This one doesn't have it either. We add it at the bottom or the top, or it doesn't matter. I guess I'll put it at the top. Video driver. This seems promising as well. We'll look into that maybe as well later if we don't get this working this way. Well, actually, I'm almost out of time, truthfully, but I will look into it later. Graphical what now? Graphical startup. Startup. I mean, the thing is, it's working, generally speaking, in the console mode. It's just always coming out of the HDMI screen. Not the Matrix. I'm stuck on the end screen. Might have froze up the Pi or something. Actually, the HDMI is just stuck on the end screen. Usually escape or enter was breaking out of that. I know that. How to break out of this. I should have turned that off. Let me break out. That's a bummer. Okay, I guess. It's like completely all wrecked here because now it's not launching. I mean, we pretty much. Guess let's give it a reboot. And I'll try this real quick, and then that's probably gonna be it for the day. This is promising though. Like the fact that they have this, the fact that it's working, you know, in console without, like, I'm still not in the desktop, so the fact that that's working in the console is a good sign. I just need to figure out how to get it to the part of the console that the Matrix can see. Enough about how Linux does all of its display stuff to really know what that means exactly, but somehow I need to get it to try to do that. The fact that it runs and shows me Doom on the HDMI be a good step in the right direction. I got that from videos before I managed to get them to work on the Matrix. About the same. Kept my so that is still on the HDMI screen, not the panel. One more thing. Let's look in here. Does this have video? What was it? Video driver? Correct that. Video driver. Name of the SDL driver. If it's an empty string, the default driver. something to look into later. Maybe there's a way to make that redirect to frame buffer or something. But I'm gonna head out for now. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you all have a good weekend and a good rest of your day. I'll see you later. I should be back next week at the usual time. Take it easy.